So we're here at the Kish Social. It's an ice cream social. Here is our program. Kish and Company Social Easter in Hungary. There's the Infant of Prague. I'm sure there's a different way to pronounce that, by Helen Kish. And so we're going to learn all about this. We're going to have our ice cream first, and then we're going to get to the program, and then there will be dolls, of course. So stay tuned, and you guys are going to have fun.
Well, ladies, I guess that's how Helen got back at me. I have to do the presentation. It's not something I want to do, but talk to the souvenir, and I guess this is my part now. I will talk to you about Easter tradition in Hungary. First, a little background about Easter in communist countries or in Eastern Europe. In most branches of Christianity, Easter is preceded by Lent, a period of penitence that begins on Ash Wednesday. Less than 40 days, less 40 days, not counting Sundays, and historically marked with fasting. The Easter tradition found in Hungary is a secular one, in line with many other spring Easter festivals found around the world. Of course, it was during communism, and it's changing quite a bit, so Hungary is not as secular as it was back when I was growing up. They definitely didn't appreciate or they hated religion and despised it, and they were doing everything they could against it. Spring festivals revolve around new life, reproduction, and fertility. In Hungary, the flower represents woman's virginity, while the watering represents fertility of man. Painted eggs are also part of Easter tradition in Hungary. Eggs are painted red to symbolize the blood of Christ, and the other colors are added to produce a more creative design. In Christian tradition, Easter concludes the fast represented by Jesus' 40 days fast in the desert. And in ancient times, the fast included abstaining from meat for the entire 40 days. The celebrating of Easter ends of the fast. In Hungary, Easter is called Húsvét, and it is referring to hús, which actually meat in Hungarian. Mm-hmm. And so take the meat to ourselves. The tradition is Húsvét or Easter in Hungary. Easter hús or Húsvét, as it's known in Hungarian, is one of the most important cultural and Christian traditions celebrated in the country. Renowned the world over as a country steeped in tradition, Hungary celebrates Easter weekend in style with delicious food and family gatherings. Good Friday, Easter Sunday, and Monday are marked as public holidays in Hungary, and the nation has much planned for the weekend. Locsolkodás, it's a Hungarian name for this event that we have on Easter Mondays. I couldn't find the English word for it. It's a very goofy street tradition in Hungary, and I will talk about it a little more. It's a unique centuries-old tradition, takes place on Easter Monday, and sees boys and men reciting poems, visiting female friends and family with special attention to females, reading a poem to them before sprinkling them with perfume. Observed in more dramatic ways in the countryside with boys chasing after girls with buckets of water. So, it's a lot of fun for the boys. But besides, people usually just spray perfume. By the end of the day, girls usually smell like a perfume store. Actually, a lot worse because all these dozens of boys coming with different perfumes, and back then cheap ones too. On occasion, even they would fill up the bottle with water because we didn't want to spend too much perfume. The men and boys have to say or write a rhyme, something like, before you sprinkle the girls, I went to this forest and found this flower. Can I water this flower? The tradition kicks off early in Monday and continues through the day. In return for sprinkling the ladies with perfume, the men are rewarded with food, ham, hard-boiled eggs, cakes, alcohol, usually the very strong Hungarian fruit brandy palinka. Bearing in mind the tradition goes on for the entire day, groups of pretty drunk men and some kids can often be seen stumbling through the streets come evening. So to give you a little background why it was a dream holiday for the boys. Growing up in the 50s, we were hungry most of the time. And the communist government was very careful not to starve the population, but food was pretty scarce. So give you an idea for our family, blue-collar family in the outskirts of Budapest, where I grew up. For breakfast, we would have a slice of toast with some good lard on it. Whenever I talked to Helen about the food choices we had, she kind of gets grossed by it. But I think lard is very tasty for those of you who tasted it. And so a slice of bread, toast with lard on it, and then a coffee with milk, but the coffee wasn't from beans, it's not from beans. I don't know what kind of wheat or what type of coffee. It wasn't classic coffee that we use here, coffee beans. It was a cheap version of a coffee, they call it coffee. On occasions we would have tea, but again, lemon was very expensive, so we had some lemon peels to throw into that tea. And that would be the breakfast. Lunch, some soup. We Hungarians eat a lot of different kind of soups, some pretty good soups. And then afterwards, some vegetables, a lot of beans and things like that. Dinner, baked potato with some sour cream, and that's about it. Great time when we were sick, kids, we would get tea with real lemon and maybe a slice of bread with butter on it, and also a soft-boiled egg, because eggs were very expensive and we rarely seen eggs. Sunday was a special day. My mom, we had quite a bit of a black market from the villages. Some of the peasants, people coming up selling cottage cheese, what's that, chicken, and some other goods that was actually illegal because the communist country didn't let those people grow their own food, but of course they didn't, so they came to the city and they were selling it under the table at the black market. So my mom would buy a chicken, and we had 4 of us, my brother, my mom, my dad, and I. And for breakfast, she had to, it was a live chicken, so she had to fix that chicken, and it was a lot of work. If any of you ever tried it, it's not easy. So she would take the blood from the chicken and with onions and lard, do some scramble. That was a breakfast. It's a wonderful thing if you appreciate that kind of food. For lunch, she had chicken soup, and then from the same poor chicken, we also had some fried chicken and potatoes. So that one chicken for 4 people. Dinner time, of course, we didn't need a lot of dinner since we had a great big lunch. We would have like a sardine, 1 can of sardine for 4 of us.
Wow.
So now this was in the 50s. I was growing up in the 50s. 60s, in 56 we had a revolution. Of course, the communists won, and they came back and they repressed the nation again. But in the 60s, it got a lot easier, and we had a lot more food, and things started to open up and as time was going on. So this was pretty much in the 50s. And the reason I'm telling you about this is to give you an insight that the importance of that holiday for us boys was food that we didn't have all year long. We would go from home to home, family members to family members, and people would have ham, hard-boiled eggs, pastries, and I mean, we would eat. I mean, I'm surprised that we didn't blow up from all the food. For young boys, that was the ultimate holiday. So we would go, and in some ways it was like a Halloween here in the US. The father would take the little ones and go to family members to visit them with a bottle of that perfume and sprinkle them. And the boys, when we got to 8, 9 years old, we were on our own. We didn't want to go with our father. We would go alone, and with friends. I would go with my brother and travel all over the city. And we would hit at least 30, 40, 50 households in one day. And the fun part was about it is, of course, we had all the food we wanted, and back then, we got some alcohol. It wasn't a big deal. People would say, oh, you can have would you like a little shot? It's a chocolate liqueur, it's not a big deal. And of course, oh sure, we will have some. 10 years old, 11 years old, and we would have a drink. And the next place we visited, they didn't know how much we already had. They asked, actually, I never forget it. My brother, I still have a lot of arguments with my brother. He was about 10 years old, I was a couple of years older, I was 12, and he got so drunk that he threw up a public transportation on a bus. I was very embarrassed, and he claims that he wasn't drunk, he had to run after me to catch the bus, and his stomach got but it was drinking. So you can see, and again, I've been gone for 50 years. I don't know the present situation. I'm sure they still following the tradition and have some good drinking going on. Another thing that we really loved about Húsvét, Easter, many of the places we visited by the people did not had any food left, so they would give us some change, a nickel, a dime, maybe a quarter. And to put it in perspective, a man would make maybe $8, would make $8 an hour or so. For a little kid, we would get in change that maybe as much as $15, $20. Of course, it's in Hungarian money, none in dollars. I'm just put it in perspective. And it's all from nickels and dimes and quarters. And some generous folks maybe give you $1 if you were a relative or something like that. And of course, in the afternoon, the first thing we would gamble. and take the change and throw it against the wall, and whoever got his money closest to the wall, he would have a first call on shaking all the change, a handful of change, throw it up and call it head on tail, or head on tails, or tails, and pick out the winning, and then the next one.
Wow.
And so it was a wonderful, wonderful time for us in many, many ways. That's basically, so this locsolkodás is an old tradition in Hungary, and try to figure out what would be a good English word. It's hosing down with water, throwing water, bucket of water. But it's, sometimes the language is such that you really need to speak the language and read the language to understand the meaning of it. So anyway, if you like, this is about my growing up in a communist country and the Easter celebration in Hungary. If you'd like to have any, if you have any questions, more than happy to.
I would like to know, was this the Monday after Easter or before Easter?
It's Easter weekend.
Oh, so like the whole weekend?
Yeah.
So, but do you do Easter Sunday too?
Yeah, but the locsolkodás is only on Monday. Yeah, we have 3 days a weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday as our official holiday, a Friday night. And it would be Monday where we would go around and visit the girls and tell you that we didn't care if she was 99 years old or 2 years old, because we got some bonus, we would sprinkle anyone.
Ellen, did you know all this before you married him?
Did he sprinkle you? It does explain something. When I went over, after we did get married, and I went over by myself, he stayed in Germany, and I went over to meet his parents, and I stayed in their apartment. His father was always surprising me every time I turned around, spraying me with perfume. I'm not kidding. I thought, what's wrong with this man? And it wasn't even Easter Monday.
He didn't want you to wilt, as a flower, beautiful flower, young flower. Any other questions?
Do you like Easter better here in the USA, or do you like that?
It's not so much
Well,
fun.
it's beautiful here. It's a beautiful tradition. Following Easter here, of course, I do believe in Jesus Christ and going to church, and it's a wonderful holiday for us. But it was, as a kid, I mean, you couldn't.
Couldn't beat that.
Yeah, it was a wonderful, wonderful thing for us.
Don's Polish, and somewhat, a little bit similar. And they would take the eggs in the basket and the ham and everything that was going to be eaten on Easter on the Saturday before to the church to be blessed. Did you all do that as well?
No, we didn't go to church at all.
Okay.
It wasn't forbidden, but if someone had a better job and someone saw that person in the church, that would lose the job. And I remember that I had my godfather was a fairly high-ranking military man, and when family was I don't remember, one of my cousins got married, and he would be waiting for us outside of the church. He wouldn't come in. But I think I had only one cousin I saw getting married in the church. Everyone else did just. It was discouraged in many, many ways. There are many problems. There were many problems with the church. We had a lot of priests. We call them peace priests, and their job was to talk about communism and wonderful things that communism brought to us. And often, if somebody went to confession, the next step was going to jail because the priest would not honor confession. Now, I don't want to generalize here to be fair about it, but it happened quite a bit. So I'm sure there were some wonderful priest who sacrificed their life and they got
A special Easter dinner that families would celebrate, it's like from the meats and the
Well, it was,
vegetables.
the special meal was the Monday when everybody had ham, hard-boiled eggs, pastries. That was kind of special. But we didn't get together like you would get together Christmas Eve. And Christmas was similar. It was a very family-oriented event, but it had nothing to do with religion. The communist government discouraged all the religious holidays and what they called Christmas love, holiday of love. And so no one, very few people would go to church. So it was pretty much, we had the buildings on display for tourists, if we had some tourists or very, actually, to be fair about it, we had a fairly good activity in the countryside with old peasant women. They said, I must say the ugly word to communist government. They said we lived a long life and we don't care, we still believe in it, and so they would go to church. So in small villages, you saw quite a few old people go to church, but not in the cities. Cities is just out.
This is sort of off the when you first came to America. How did you feel about the difference, and what was your feelings when you first came?
Confusion?
What?
Confusion. I was confused. Because I was, to be honest with you, I was brainwashed. I don't care what anyone says. You grow up in any kind of a dictatorship, it's very easy to brainwash you in schools and workplace and everywhere else. And you need to be very, very careful. To give you an example, my brother was back in Hungary about 10 years after the communism were overturned and there was no more communism. And he was out walking or just taking a stroll in the woods with my father. And he started to talk about something political, and my dad would turn to him and says, "Be quiet, you don't want to get in trouble." And it was 10 years after there was no communist government, and they still instilled in people that they were scared of possibly that someone will turn them in.
Thomas, when did you come to the U.S.?
When I came here,
Yeah, what,
1970.
1970?
Yeah, and I escaped. Hungary was still a communist country, so I escaped from Hungary when I came here. Came here as a political refugee.
And you were in
It's
New York.
it's taken me quite a few years to understand what this country is about, or was at the time. I don't want to get into politics here. So it was very difficult because I always had these doubts in my mind. It can be, that's not what I learned, that's not what they told me. I had to live in this country to understand the difference.
So you came to New York then, and that's where you went?
Yeah, Helen was in kind of a extended summer vacation. I met her in New York, and then I met her
Go ahead, tell them where.
in a joint. They called the place Electric Circus. It was a discotheque. So after
Very 70s.
we dated for a long time, maybe a couple of months, I don't know.
Perfume on her, Tomas?
She was a tough
Did you
cook.
spray perfume on her?
No, not yet. Let's catch up on that. But anyway, decided to marry her, and I asked her to marry me, and she says, okay, but why don't we move back? Why don't we move to Denver? She was born in Denver, her family was in Denver. And I said, Denver? Where the hell is Denver? I grew up in Budapest, I lived in Rome, I lived in New York City, now I live in Denver.
I hope no one else is from Denver here. Now I know.
Okay, well, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I knew he wanted me to do these little dolls. What are they, 4 inches, 5 inches? Make them Hungarian, and I thought, are you kidding me? How am I going to do that? Because one of the great Hungarian traditions, it's probably all over Eastern Europe, is this incredible embroidery. And boy, it was incredible too, doing it. Just, I know there are only 25 of them, but I never worked so hard on anything in my life. With everything had to be done by hand. So anyway, his idea was to make a girl, which is your souvenir, and a boy, which is the companion, which there are very few of, representing this holiday that I can't pronounce, where the boys or the males go around spraying the girls.
Does it?
Yeah, that. So that's the background to it. They're all done by hand because, you know, something this small, I think I did one seam on the machine. Everything else is done by hand. Because the really garments are too small, this machine would suck them right in, right? So anyway, I think you all have your boxes now, do you? No, I gotta get them. Oh, you're getting them.
I mean, very good.
Okay.
Sissy's always first up.
You heard what she said. Nobody talks like loud like I do, but I know you guys hear me, so I'm loud. Be sure that you have the box up so you don't lose the shoes. Has everybody got their doll out? Okay, let's open them and see what Helen's been up to.
There's the set. Hungarian Easter tradition. Wow. She's so little. Wow. Look how tiny she is. Wow. So this is all hand embroidered. She embroidered all of this. Every bit of it. So I'm going to pull her out.
In the room is interested in purchasing, it's a meal only, purchasing
Wow, look at that.
2 left.
I think it's resin. And then the little face is hand painted.
$130.
Just look at that. Incredible.
Go back and see
Wow.
Karen, and she'll take care of you.
They're so little and tiny. So much work involved with this. Look at that. It's precious.
Okay, we've got 2. Karen's Kay's gonna upgrade, I'm sorry.
Can we show him on the
And Judy's gonna upgrade.
There he is, the centerpiece.
Do you want to put them together?
Look how precious. Adorable.
You have shine. I got one. Oh, okay.